Hey guys, so what I'm going to do in this training is teach you how to get more of your Facebook leads to attend their consult. So this could be a online consult, it could be a phone consult or an in-person. So it's exactly the same systems for each consultation. If you've never met me before, my name's Jimmy. Closed over $20 million in sales personally using Facebook ads. And currently coach just over 500 people to be able to make more money off Facebook ads. So if you want to make more money, this training is definitely for you. So the system I'm going to share with you essentially decreases no-shows. So look, not every person will attend when they book a call. That's totally normal. But you want to use this system so more people show up. Also, you increase trust and also as well your sales team. Like have more good calls and mainly have people to attend. You might not have a sales team. You might be doing the sales yourself, or you have a sales team. Look, there's nothing more annoying than a consult not turning up, but we want to be calm in the process. Know that not everyone turns up, but implement the steps personally and also with automations because we have to use both to be able to get the best results possible. So the key is manual and automations. So what you want to do is make sure people are booking through a calendar. So in your calendar, you just want to make sure, that it's nice and professional. So there's a few things that you want to add on. So say our one in here, we've just got congratulations that they're qualified, telling them the next step is to book a call. So you want to make them feel good and then also tell them the next step. In here, you have a overview of what things are with the call. And then you also have the call times. You want to make sure, ideally, that the call times they're booking no more than 3 days in advance. If you have a look at my one in here, at the moment it's 4 days in advance just because we're getting too many sales calls, which is a good problem to have. You also want to have a little bit of social proof in there. So, results, you don't use videos, just use photos. Could be before and afters, Google review, screenshots, and things like that. Okay, because we want to increase trust throughout the funnel. Okay, so you want to explain what the call's about, who the call's for, what they get from the call. Make sure you have a calendar that's open, simple steps to book, and you can also use like a short form that they fill out. So our one's pretty simple in here. So what we just ask them in ours is we're working internationally, so you don't want to ask too many questions, but in here we just get their name, email, phone number, and also as well with ours we're working in multiple countries, so we just get them to check over in here to make sure they check the right time zone. Okay, and then after they book, you want to send them to a trust page. So over in here, right, when people book a call, they're going to get sent to this page. Now, the reason for this is they've just booked a call, so now they're going to do research on you. So you want to make sure that what they're getting is helping you get more sales and essentially get more qualified leads. So that's the goal in everything. So you'll see in here in the page, so it's your calls book, there's a video. Now you might not be as advanced as what we do, so I'll cover like the minimum kind of thing that you can do. And then also as well, if you want to go down through all of it, you can. So in here, there's videos. So we call these breakout videos, or my mentor taught me that. So in there's about 14 or 15, and these are just questions that our sales reps get. And so what we want on the call is to keep it mainly emotional. And so people will have questions in their head. So in here, what type of images we use, why it doesn't make sense to use a 1 to 6K agency. And these are all questions that we got. I have a sales team, so I did it off the recordings, and I also talked to my sales team. And what you can do, within that, say if you want to, do it yourself, you can go to ChatGPT, say, if you do home renovations, what are 10 questions someone would be thinking when they book a call about home renovation, about our home renovation service, that I can give them short videos on to answer, their questions before the call on the videos. So in here in ChatGPT, it'll just give you some ideas. So in here, how much does a renovation cost? And you say it will be variable. Can I trust, your company? How long will it take? What if costs blow out halfway through? Do I need council approval? So within that, you can just, make those videos on that to go over the questions. Now, I got these done at a podcast place. So obviously it looks quite professional in there, which kind of helped. Then you want to have the social proof. So this is where we have our Google reviews in there. This is using ACR, which I'll talk about, just like auto populates. Then we've got a few results, and then we've got a questions that they'll ask. So it's like, do you run Google ads? And these, again, just questions that we got off the sales call. So that's like an FAQ. In this page, I actually wrote all the answers and then I got it done in Claude. So if you have a look over in here, say if I go to Claude, I don't have the direct example, but in here, if we go to projects, say the page that you're looking at is in here. If we go to the bottom, is what I did is I gave it all the information of what I wanted to cover with you guys, and then it made the page. So you'll see on this one, when I put the HTML coding in, the page that I made looks exactly like that. And you can just put the code in. Again, you can do this all in ACR. Okay, then the next one, so you've got your FAQ. Then in here, we've got more social proof. So it's just loaded with social proof. We've got videos of actually ad accounts that we've run, what good ads management looks like. So we've got more social proof. Okay, now in here, if you want to do a basic version at the start, because this took me hours and hours, so you want to start with the base level, and then also as well, you want to add things on time. You can always watch this training after. So initially you want to have this one, which explains what happens on the call, tells them what to do next with your automated reminders and get them to reply. And then you also get them to do your, the due diligence on your business, and you just want to add in like as much social proof as you can. So definitely Google reviews, definitely screenshots if you have them, videos, if you have like testimonials on that, and that will be like really beneficial. So see, we just have as many testimonials as we can. Now, what we've also added in here, and again, this is advanced, you don't have to start this, but we have like get to know Jimmy, because I'm the face of our company. So it has like pretty much my life story in there. And then also as well, if we go down, why we started our business, what are the, core reasons for that. And then we've got confirmation of the price. It's got a little quote in there, and then it's got links to all my socials. So, that way it's giving them all the information. Like if they spend like 15, 20 minutes on that, they will look at the things that are most important to them. And the goal of this page is to get them to attend, add social proof so they trust me, answer all of their questions and things like that. So I know that's like pretty advanced, so you can just start with a base level. Okay, so you want to cover, what the call's about, who the call's for, what they'll get from the call. Make sure on the step before that you have a clear calendar and things like that. And again, this is something that you're going to build over time. So you might have to watch this training a few times. Obviously, our agency members are going to, who are working with us, we can help with that and review what you've done. So we're happy to do that. So in here, when someone books, you want to make sure you send them to the trust page. Okay, so what you want to do in your SMSs is there's an SMS 3 minutes after they book. So in here, this is using all the coding for ACR, but pretty much in here, it just has their first name, book an appointment, tells them where they're, tell them where the meeting location is, whether it's phone call, whether it's Zoom, whether it's in person. And then you also tell them to please have a look over the thank you page, which is this one before the call. Because that's really going to increase our no-show rate. And then also as well, we get them to reply yes. Then 10 minutes later, we send a simple question because we want the leads to start to engage with us and our sales reps. So say one for our business is, are you currently running, Facebook and Instagram ads? Just one that gets like a very simple reply. So over in here, if we go to, ChatGPT, if I go over in here, what would, 5 questions be I could ask just to get bookings to reply? That is really simple and simple, for them. For example, have you ever done any, renovations before? Okay. So say in there you give them, an idea. Have you done renovations before? What area of the home are you thinking about renovating? What made you start thinking about renovating now? Okay. So then in your automations, right, what you'll have is 10 minutes later where they're getting that. And ideally, we want them to reply. Not everyone will, but then, that gets you to start a conversation, because the more that you can communicate with them before you call, the higher show rate you're going to have. And again, this is all automated. Okay. Then you want to send them a reminder 24 hours before. So this one gives them a reminder, gives them the start date of the call, so date, location, gives them the meeting location again, tells them to watch the call, and you also give them a reschedule link. Okay, then 1 hour before, you don't include the reschedule link, you just confirm that their call is coming up. Now, for our guys using ACR, which I always talk about, this is already built within the system. So within that currently, and this might change, but as of today, you get like a $1 trial for that. The reason you pay $1 is just because you cover your own SMS and emails, which is like dirt cheap, it's like 6 cents. So essentially, you get a free month, not covering not covering what their monthly service fee is, and so it's like a really good trial. Okay, but then also as well, like if you think about it, a sale might be worth $1, $5, $20, $150,000 to your business. So it's quite valuable if you think about the customer lifetime value. And so you don't want to rely on the automations. Okay, that's just not going to be good enough if you want to win. So then you want to do the manual follow-up as well. So this is outside of the automations. So if someone like hasn't replied, or even if they have, we get our reps to call them the day before and also SMS them with a short message. Okay, that's going to increase the show rate. If you can talk to them, you're just confirming the call. In the short message, you just want to write something to get them to reply. And so you would just remind them within the call on that. Now, what to do if they're late? So this happens. So imagine you get a consult, it's at 8:30, in the morning. If they're 3 minutes late, we call and text them. And then 10 minutes later, we also call and text them as well. Now, depending on your consult structure, is essentially if people are late, you might not have enough time to close the sale. If you have time after, it's okay if they hop on late. If not, you will just get them to reschedule using the booking page again. Now, if they no-show, which happens, you want to move them over to a pipeline. So in ACR, you can automatically make a pipeline, which is called no-shows. And what that's going to do is automated, send them a SMS and email each day to rebook. And then we also advise our sales reps to, make sure that they're calling them as well. Because essentially you want to make as much sales and revenue as possible. So again, if that's you want to get the consult to reattend and be totally cool with that. It is annoying, but you want to be as nice to them as you can, obviously. And then just have systems to get them to rebook. Okay. Now in this link here, that's a link to the ACR trial in there. So if you go over here, if you don't have these systems, honestly, the easiest way is to just do that trial. I can say I don't own ACR. My friend Jackson does. He helps set up all of mine, which has honestly helped me make like millions of dollars. Okay. And so the full flow, lead books a call, goes to a trust page, SMS 3 minutes after opt-in, 10 minutes later, with a simple question, reminders 24 hours before and also 1 hour before. They're automated. Manual call if they don't confirm, and you're focused on continuing that conversation. So the more that you can chat to them just via SMS, or if you give them a call and they answer, that's going to improve your no-show rate out of this world. And we track that. And so we know the more we communicate with them, the higher the show rate's going to be. Or if they no show because they have a personal relationship and we are talking to them, the rebooking rate is really high as well. So there's no way you can lose on that. And if they no show, okay, you want to, obviously call them 3 minutes after and 10 minutes later at their consult time, and then also move them to a rebooking pipeline. Now, there's going to be a lot of steps to be able to implement this, but all of this is done in ACR. So you have your booking page and calendar, that's in there. You add your questions to qualify your leads, that's automated. They do that with you in onboarding, or you have to just do it yourself, right? If you're not going to use ACR for whatever reason. You want to create your booking and trust page, okay? So you want to do that over time, have a minimum viable page, and then you add to it. And you might watch this training a couple of times. I can always answer any questions you have and things like that. Set up your automated SMSs, okay? And then also as well, make sure you add the time, date, location, reschedule link in that one 24 hours before. Set up your reminders again. Make sure you've got a reschedule link. That's automated in ACR, so you just like press a button and it has the link. And then make sure if your consults are late, make sure you call them and text them. If they fully no-show, just move them over to the pipeline where you have automations on that. And then if they no-show, you've got 5 days of email and SMS. And then also you want to call them once a day because your consults can be worth, honestly, thousands to, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending, what your customer lifetime value is. So hopefully that helps on everything. You've got the implementation checklist, you've got the link for ACR, which I highly recommend. So I do hope that helped today. The main thing I wanted to present on, it's helped me make, more money. So I want to make you guys more money off your Facebook ads as well. So it's time to implement. Those who implement make the most money.